In the headlines, EFCC chairman appeals court order remanding him to Kuje prison. Bandits abduct 20 children in Niger community, demand 40 million naira. Police Affairs Ministry defends 871 billion naira budget allocation. And away from Nigeria, South African president criticizes international donor for making it difficult for poorer nations to access aid to fight climate change. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ila. Thank you for joining. And now the details. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdurrashid Bawa, said his agency has appealed an Abuja High Court judgment at the Federal Capital Territory in Maitama, which convicted the EFCC boss for contempt of court in relation to his agency's failure to comply with an earlier order of the court. While speaking with journalists after a budget defense session with lawmakers in the House of Representatives, the chairman said that the EFCC will ensure that the law takes its full course. The presiding judge, Justice Chizoba Oji, in a ruling held that the chairman of the EFCC, Abdurrashid Bawa, be committed to Kuje Correctional Center, while directing the Inspector General of Police to ensure the committal order is executed. Earlier, the chairman, commenting on the agency's budget for 2023, said that the appropriations to his agency is grossly inadequate, particularly for capital projects, insisting that the anti-graft agency cannot fight the war against corruption with an abysmally low budget.
We have gotten quite
proceeds from the EFCC.
Proceeds of what?
Crime.
We have gotten quite a lot, and we have, of course, you know, the provisions of POCA, provided that each relevant agency should open confiscated and forfeited properties account. We have opened that, and of course, we are remitting all that belongs to the federal government into that account. Of course, other victims of crime are also being paid, you know, based on the recoveries that are made on their behalf. That is it. We are building a brand new EFCC academy, and we need funding for that. Last year, 3 billion was allocated, and this year, nothing, you know, was allocated for it. And that is why we are pleading to members that we need to have this new EFCC academy, because, of course, we have to learn. We, as fighters of crime, we have to be ahead of these criminals. And the only way you can do that is by training and retraining and retraining and retraining again. It can never end. Yes.
So you're sure the National Assembly will yield to you?
Of course, we have a very purposeful 9th National Assembly that we have a very good working relationship, you know, with them. I believe that they are going to heed to our request.
The EFCC proposed a total of 41.2 billion naira for capital overhead and personnel cost in its 2023 budget. Meanwhile, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has reacted to the conviction of its chairman, Abdurrashid Bawa. A statement by the head of media, Wilson Owujaren, said that the anti-graft agency received the verdict with shock. Owujaren noted that the judgment creates a wrong impression that its chairman was encouraging impunity. The spokesperson said that Bawa has been an apostle of rule of law, due process and collaboration between institutions in justice administration. The EFCC stressed that the FCT High Court order was given on November 21, 2018, 3 years before Bawa became the chairman. Owujaren said that the commission released the vehicle to the applicant on the 27th of June 2022 and approved the process to release the remaining 40 million naira. The statement confirmed that the EFCC had initiated a process to set aside the entire contempt proceedings and committal of Bawa for contempt. A federal high court in Gusau has again nullified the People's Democratic Party governorship primary election for failing to give 7-day notice required to all contestants. The presiding judge, Justice Aminu Bappa, in his judgment said it amounted to breach of the first defendant guidelines. Bappa held that the plaintiffs are entitled to 7 days notice before the conduct of the primary election held on the 23rd of September. The report.
The judge invoked Section 84, Subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022 and declared that PDP cannot field any candidate for the forthcoming 2023 elections. The judge held that the conduct of the PDP governorship primary held on 23 September is null and void. The court has placed an order for injunction restraining the PDP from forwarding the name of Dauda Lawal Dara as governorship candidate for 2023 elections on the ground of non-compliance with Section 84 and Subsection 1 of Electoral Act 2022. The court also restrained INEC from publishing Lawal Dara as the governorship candidate in Zamfara State for the 2023 elections. Counsel to the plaintiff, Ibrahim Ali, described the judgment as victory for democracy.
The court selected today for judgment, and judgment has been delivered in favor of the plaintiffs. The court held that the first defendant, that is the People's Democratic Party, did not comply with the mandatory provision of the Electoral Act, requiring them to give notice to INEC at least 21 days before the conduct of any convention for that party. Very excited. At least all our prayers have been granted. This is a victory for democracy. At least lawyers should be, restrained from filing any frivolous matters that they know that they cannot succeed in court, so that at least our judges will be relieved of all the stress they have been facing in dealing with election matters.
Federal Court Gusau had on 16 September 2022 nullified the primary election conducted by the People's Democratic Party, in which Dauda Lawal Dara emerged as the governorship candidate of the party, and ordered that a fresh governorship primary election be held. A fresh primary election was conducted on the 23rd of September, on which Dauda Lawal Dara emerged as the PDP Zamfara State governorship candidate. Ibrahim Shehu and Hafiz Mohammed did not participate in the exercise, but insisted a suit challenging the process.
Bandits have kidnapped 20 children between the ages of 4 and 10 years in Kusherki community of Rafi local government area of Niger State. The children abducted included 4 males and 16 females. Residents say that the children have been in captivity for days, and the bandits are demanding 40 million naira as ransom. Residents also said that the parents of the children have been in trauma since the abduction, calling on the authorities to assist in rescuing them. The bandits had in the past few weeks returned to the operations in Rafi and Magama Axis, as well as Zungeru Tegina Road, putting fear in the minds of farmers who have just started harvesting their crops. Efforts to get reaction of Niger State government were not successful, as messages sent to the Commissioner for Internal Security and Humanitarian Affairs, Emmanuel Umar, were not replied. The federal government said that over 12,000 inmates have been released from various correctional centers across the country within the last 6 years, in line with the policy of prison decongestion. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami stated this during the 2023 budget defense session. The report.
Abubakar Malami, while answering questions during the budget defense, said the ministry was able to decongest the prisons across the country through the policy actions in line with the Administration of Criminal Justice Act.
Progress has been made in being able to do reforms in the area of prison decongestion in the country, and the accelerated trial of terrorism cases.
With your support, the justice sector has been transformed into an avenue not only for law enforcement, but indeed for revenue generation through the huge sums of money and assets being recovered by the ministry and other agencies of government, and also help to plug leakages in the financial system through elaborate monitoring and compliance mechanisms.
That the 2023 budget estimates for the Federal Ministry of Justice and its parastatal agencies, as contained in the appropriation bill before the National Assembly, is 71,291,012,971 naira only. Kindly note that this total sum is inclusive of the allocations to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, which is not an agency under the oversight jurisdiction of this committee. Also, the statutory transfer to the National Human Rights Commission, which is an independent statutory body and not one of the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Justice, is included in the sum.
Earlier, the chairman of the committee, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, said the 2023 budget estimate for the Ministry of Justice is in the tune of 71.29 billion naira, where he commended the president for increasing the budgetary provisions of the Council of Legal Education from 2.7 billion naira in 2022 to 10.12 billion naira in the proposed 2023 fiscal year.
You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at patronizing local barbers. Details of this and more after the break.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. This is the news update on Trust Television. Here is another look at the top stories again. EFCC chairman appeals court order remanding him to Kuje prison. Bandits abduct 20 children in Niger community, demand 40 million naira. Improved welfare for officers and men of the Nigeria Police will win the fight against corruption, crime and criminality in the country. This is the submission of Minister of Police Affairs, Maigari Dingyadi, during 2023 budget defense for his ministry and agencies under it before the National Assembly Joint Committee. The report.
The police team, led by the Minister of Police Affairs, Muhammad Dingyadi, and the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba. The minister gave a breakdown of the total proposed budget for the entire police force operations and agencies under it, which stands at 871,347,212,609 kobo. He said despite the huge budget of the police still need more funding to carry out its operations across the country.
The summary of the 2023 appropriation is Table 3. The main ministry has total budget of 3,553,059,805 naira. The formations and commands, that is for Nigerian Police Force, they are having 805,580,450,659 naira.
Before his submission, the co-chairman of the committee, Senator Hali Rujika, advised the minister to restrict his budget submission to just the 2023 budget to the entire police force and its subsidiaries.
The proceedings today is going to be very simple. We are going to listen to the minister to highlight the subheads of the budget for the press. You know that this is a security-related budget and it's sensitive.
When it was his turn, the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, announced that the country will soon have a functional national carrier.
Good Chairman and honored members of this August House, I am highly elated to inform you that the national carrier Nigeria Air is well on its way to be launched soon with a Boeing 737 in its fleet for the domestic operations.
In the meantime, House of Representatives Committee on Culture and Tourism has shelved the budget defense of the ministry and all agencies under its purview until an oversight of project executed under the 2022 Appropriation Act. The committee took this stand when it became apparent that none of the agencies that turned up for the budget defense on the first allotted day met the criteria set by it.
Fire on Tuesday gutted 4 shops, destroying valuables worth millions of naira at the Police Officers' Wives Association Power Plaza along Jos Road, Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. According to eyewitness account, the fire outbreak was caused by an electricity spark in one of the shops. Umar Muhammad files in the report as presented in our studio.
The fire, according to eyewitnesses, burnt most of the properties in the building, which belongs to the Nigerian Police Force, before the Nasarawa State Fire Service officials arrived to put it out after several hours. The Power Plaza is beside the office of the Area Commander of the Nigerian Police, Lafia, and opposite the 2023 campaign office of Governor Abdullahi Sule. Narrating her ordeal, one of the owners of a shop in the race building, Kelechi Aharengbe, said at about 1:30 a.m. she received a distress call that her shop was under fire.
I was called by 1:30 in the night that the shop is burning. We should come, but by the time I got here, the shop was already burnt. Although fire service came, but I'm not sure they came in time because they would have been able to salvage something, but once everything is gone. I have the people's fabrics that I've collected, the season, the tailor shop, and I have a lot of fabrics, worth almost 500,000 or even more.
Another victim, Zainab Saidu, says she lost property worth millions of naira, expressing sadness over the unfortunate incident and called on the state government to come to her help.
It was the water that got it bad anyway, from packing of the things, and the water splash from fire service and the smoke that made it bad. It is worth ₦1 million.
The Nasarawa State Director of the Fire Service, Hanatu George, who confirmed the incident, however, said that the fire outbreak was as a result of an electrical fault, revealing that only 4 shops were affected during the fire outbreak that lasted from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m.
This is a pure light. This thing has, in those days, but nowadays we are ever ready at any time. The fire engine is intact, the water is intact. There's nothing like that. Even when I was at home at the middle of the night, they called me. All I was calling them up to the time they finished their work. The water will finish, they'll come back and carry another water. They'll go back. All they did that successfully.
She therefore called on residents to always follow safety protocols to avoid future occurrence.
Now, local barbers in Kano are often considered as traditional health practitioners specializing in women and children's illnesses, while some patronize them because they cannot afford medical bills at the conventional hospitals. Others believe in the efficacy of herbal medicine. In this report, Trust TV's correspondent meets with one of the herbal medicine practitioners who believe that the practice can help reduce pressure on conventional health institutions if properly supported by government.
But with the help of this traditional physician, Habiba is now free, operating opposite the exit gates of the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital. Musa Kau is an itinerant barber, otherwise known as Wanzami among the Hausa people. He specialized in offering traditional health assistance to mostly women and children. a practice Musa inherited from his mother.
We do give medicines of various diseases as we inherit from our parents. These diseases include those of children and adults.
Although believed to be effective by many, especially these women who queue in here on a daily basis, but conventional health practitioners argued that this unorthodox practice is a double-edged sword.
Traditional medical practice has been recognized by the World Health Organization as well as the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria to such an extent that the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria registers traditional medical healers. So one cannot completely rule out the possibility that there is some benefit to be derived from such a practice. But then, on the other side, many of them try to do a practice where some mysterious activities are involved.
But not for people like Musa, who believe that with strict supervision and regulation by government authorities, traditional health practice can significantly reduce the burden and pressure on conventional healthcare institutions across the country. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, what comes to mind when the woman is tagged the breadwinner in a family where the man is still alive, healthy? Well, answers to these questions has more often than not elicited different reactions or outright judgment from people for one reason or the other. In this report, Noel Samson takes us through the path of this rather tricky issue and speaks with experts on how best to handle such a situation.
The term breadwinner is thought of originated in the UK in the 1820s. Bread from that time to date is considered as a daily necessity in the home. Providing bread and other daily necessities is what has gradually accepted as breadwinning. Traditionally, the father or the man of the house is originally vested with the responsibility of providing for the day-to-day running of the home. However, with women now sharing in the responsibility, the term is gradually assuming a different meaning.
When you have a woman earning more, maybe $1 million in a month, and the husband is earning like 300,000, and probably they are living in Abuja here, or they are living in Lagos, or any parts of the country. Definitely, if you look at it, the gap is so wide. Now, things like this, we've seen situations where this may be the base of the end of that marriage before you know it. So it now comes to the point where the two individuals involved in this marriage, which is the man and the woman, coming to sit down together, having understanding and communication. To all women outside, if you are the breadwinner, in your own home, it calls for a need for you to have a clearer and a healthy communication with your partner if you're married.
However, different individuals have different notions concerning the issue of the woman being breadwinners in the family.
Some men of these days now, they are just lazy. Men are lazy. And so the painful part of it is that sometimes when woman they provide, woman can do everything in house. The husband self, they not even appreciate women.
And once man taking care of many things in our home, feeding the husband, feeding children, before you could, people will hear it outside that they are the one taking care of the. She will not be happy with the husband. You see the husband as a lazy man, a man that doesn't have sense. That other men are out there looking for. She forgot that from the beginning it wasn't like that.
This situation where women in the homes where their men assume the role of the breadwinner has led to crisis for several reasons. Experts have advised that adequate communication and understanding between couples will help solve the problems caused by women being breadwinners in the family. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, away from Nigeria, the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa criticized international funders for making it difficult for developing nations to access aid to fight climate change. According to a UN-backed report, developing countries and emerging economies need investments well beyond $2 trillion annually by 2030. Speaking at the COP27 summit on Tuesday, Cyril Ramaphosa asked for a clearer roadmap. In other news, security had to escort Egyptian pro-government lawmaker Amir Darwish after he disrupted a press conference led by the sister of a jailed British Egyptian activist Alaa Abdel Fattah, currently on hunger strike. The sister of the jailed activist appealed to the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to press for his release. The activist, currently serving a 5-year sentence, was accused of spreading disinformation after denouncing police brutality on social networks. And in sports news, Nigeria has again reaffirmed its dominance in World Scrabble as Febisola Olanipekun claimed victory in Division B of the Malta International Scrabble Opens, which ended on Monday in Malta. Olanipekun picked the second-tier title as she recorded a result of 18 wins and 7 losses with a cumulative spread of 784 points ahead of the England's Jack Mitchell, who also recorded same score but with a lower cumulative point of 369. James Wilkie of Scotland came third with 16 wins and 19 losses with a cumulative point of 1,080. Meanwhile, another Nigerian, Emmanuel Egbele, posted an encouraging result of 16 wins and 9 defeats with 939 points to finish fourth at the tournament. Oladele Tosin, a member of the Nigerian trio, was ranked 14 at the end of the mind game. Olanipekun, who won 2 gold and 2 silver medals at the private university games in 2011 as a student of Achiever University, said she was excited by the victory. A total of 51 players from England, Scotland, Ireland, Canada, the USA, Northern Ireland, Hungary, Poland and Netherlands, Spain, Nigeria, as well as host Malta participated at the 3-day tournament held at the Golden Tulip Hotel, St. Julian, in the historical coastal country in Europe. And that's the news update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for more. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching.